essentially, there were arrears of 68 billion cedis to be paid by the finance ministry. The minister said he wasn't going to pay until he did an audit. Of the 68, 45 billion was validated, 8 billion outrightly rejected, 13 billion pending justification, waiting for new documents. So this figure could be higher or it could remain at 8. That's the first big item here. Now, why was the 8 billion rejected? Unsupported documentation, recycled or already paid claims, duplications and overstatements, falsified receipts, and in some cases, no work done, payments already made. So 8 billion rejected. He's not going to pay those. Then you have, out of that 8 billion, you break it down into two. 4.4 billion, about half of that because of fraudulent resubmission after payments already made. And of that, the Ministry of Roads and Highways was a big culprit there. About 3.6 billion of the 4.4 came from that ministry. So road contractors or people who essentially submit from this ministry documentation claiming that these guys had not been paid, where they had already been paid. So government had already paid 3.6 billion to road contractors. Somebody within the ministry, according to this audit report, submits the same project asking for payment. So had it not been for the audit, we wouldn't have known that this amount had been paid. Ministry of Health as well, 384 million. Energy Ministry, 216. Food and Agriculture, 57 million. There were other ministries. These are the big four. So that's another big headline, right? The idea that payments had already been made, but 4 billion submitted for repayment. That's about half of the disallowed. And then there's this category they call liabilities, which have been inflated through blatant duplication and overstated. 1.4 billion in total, the ministry is giving. Again, a big issue. Overstated claims, 161 million, but the duplicated claims being 1.4. So that was a big red flag as well. Then we go into specifics. 1D1F, 89 million cedis, supposedly to be paid to 6 banks for some interest payments, and a 1D1F, the banks had no idea about this. Another 10 million directed to completely non-existent buffer account. Really serious stuff that the audit found, which we could have lost. 89 and then 10. Then there was a dry spell, money spent to procure rice, 34,000 tons, only 24,000 tons sent. 10,000 tons, we don't know where that is. We have to find the rice. Again, for maize, 100 tons, 100,000 tons, only 11,900 supplied, over 88,000 to be supplied. Where is that maize? We need to find it, according to the report. So this one is money expended on something and the thing is not there, right? And then you have hundreds of millions requested for bank transfers without a single supporting document, totaling 293 million. Some of the ministries include the Gender Ministry, the Roads Ministry. Gender Ministry had a big chunk of this as well. And then, of course, receipts were targeted using forged receipts. Public funds targeted using forged receipts as well. 9 million cedis. The breakdown is given there. Expired contracts stated there as well. There was a claim that there were teacher arrears to be paid when the check was made with the government agency, which is the tertiary institutions governing board. They found out that there was nothing like that. So they would have paid 160 million supposedly for arrears. Had GTEC not been contacted, GTEC said there was nothing like this. Again, for Agenda 111, almost $8 million given for mobilization, but the contractors could not mobilize. And therefore, even though the money has been expended, they couldn't do the work, or they did the work partially. Then, of course, details of this are given here. We need to point out two things. We don't have the full report yet. So this is the minister's version, which, of course, is laid in front of Parliament. That means that Parliament being the House of Record, he couldn't have lied. But we have not seen the management response yet, which is also important. And when I get into my interview, we'll discuss those points as well. All right. There were other highlights in the report. Report has been submitted to Public Accounts Committee, or at least the matter has been referred to the committee. And then we are told, according to the Minister of Finance, there will be no payment without full verification. And then we are also told that the AG, so AG and Public Accounts Committee, forensic audit for the 1D1F is being recommended, and then no financial commitment without approval going forward.